Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. Let's talk. The Baltimore Ravens are at a pivotal point in their history. I think they're at a point of no return at this point. It's not possible that they're going to be able to make any type of drastic change to improve this team. I don't believe that they should make a drastic change to improve this team. There is no trade that's out there that's going to change life for the Baltimore Ravens. If they were going to make a trade, they should have made a real push to get a Micah Parsons, because defensively, that was our biggest issue, and it has been our biggest issue for the last 5 years, not having an adequate pass rush. And so there's no move like that that's going to be out there on the market. And the truth is, that would just be putting a Band-Aid on an amputation. The Baltimore Ravens are absolutely bleeding out, and quick fixes no longer have an opportunity to save us. The Baltimore Ravens need a full-blown MRI, CAT scan, X-ray, and every other examination to look into our inner workings. The Baltimore Ravens have absolutely fallen apart. They have been masked for their improprieties. They have been masked for their insufficiencies by Lamar Jackson for the last 7 seasons. From the time that Lamar Jackson became a full-time starter at the beginning of a season, which was 2019, he has hidden everything that has been wrong with the Baltimore Ravens, from coaching to offensive schematics to a bad defense with no pass rush, to a poor special teams. He's been able to hide all of that. How has he been able to do that? And this is not Save Lamar Jackson Day. This is not that, because we'll get into that more specifically. He's been able to hide what's been ailing them by just pure talent, athleticism, escapability, and improvement over the course of his career. Improvement as a passer, improvement as a decision maker, improvement of an offensive line that's been bad because he's been able to escape it, improvement in the run game because he's been the leading rusher in the Baltimore Ravens franchise over the last 5 seasons. He's been able to improve what's been consistently bad. Now, let me be honest. I said out of this mouth that I'm speaking from that EDC had done the best job he has done as a GM this past season. Being able to pick up a DeAndre Hopkins, being able to get a veteran left tackle, being able to solidify a wide receiving room that was always deprived of top-end talent, being able to retain Derrick Henry for the next couple of seasons. All of those things I said he had done a good job with. Being able to pick a guy like a Mike Green in the 2nd round, who could be a long-term guy for the Baltimore Ravens at edge rush. Being able to draft a whole lot of talent and depth, which is now being questioned. Being able to get a Malachi Starks to fix the safety room or help fix the safety room. And he had done a good job. But I think what has happened this season is everything that has been wrong with the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson by himself can no longer hide. Lamar Jackson can no longer put makeup on what's ugly. The Baltimore Ravens have been bad along that offensive line for a long time. Marshall Yanda, before he retired, was able to help hold down the right side because of his solid play. Kevin Zeitler was able to replace or step in for Marshall Yanda along the right side and help solidify the right side. Tyler Linderbaum was able to help or at least upgrade the center position. Ronnie Stanley has been questionable at best over the last 5 seasons since he started getting injured. He had one good season, which was last year, and then they decided to keep him around for 3 seasons. And that's what the Baltimore Ravens have done along the offensive line specifically. And then you take and you plug in a fourth rounder in Daniel Falele, which is too big and too slow to play in that particular position. You have a Voorhees who they drafted, who was injured, who you've made the starter as of right now, but he's been bad. Linderbaum getting pushed into the backfield, running into his quarterback, causing help to cause a fumble. And it's just a clown show. And that offensive line has been bad. That's the inner workings of the Baltimore Ravens, but Lamar Jackson has helped hide that. The run game, let's be honest, the run game hasn't always been elite because the talent back there was elite. The run game had been elite. We had been one of the top 3 running teams over the last 5 years. Why? Because of Lamar Jackson. When you have a quarterback, even last year, who goes for over 900 yards, that is aiding the run game. So it's able to look a lot better, maybe, than what it was. When you have a quarterback who went over 1,000 yards at least twice in his career, that's aiding a run game that may not have been that good. See, I know this is some revisionist history, but I'm saying this is why the Baltimore Ravens have fallen on hard times, and I don't think we get up anytime soon. When you've had an offense who can give you 30 points pretty easy, which lets the defense off the hook, which has been bad last season and this season. You see, when we used to could go on long drives, it keeps a bad defense off the field. So some of what they were not good at was always hidden by who? Lamar Jackson and this offense. But now everything that we've been bad at is now being exposed. From the head coach to the OC to the DC to the EDC. It's bad. See, we're playing bad because we're a bad team. You see, we as a fan base had bought the narrative that as long as you have Lamar, you have a chance. But that's what everything rested on. It was if Lamar could stay consistently great, you could stay in some type of contention. But now when Lamar is great, it's not enough. When Lamar played well in game 1, it wasn't enough because he can no longer hide the defense. When Lamar played well in week number 2, the defense looked better only because we were playing against Joe Flacco. But in week number 3, Lamar Jackson played fairly well, right? But it wasn't enough. See, he can no longer hide by himself the bad offensive line. He can no longer hide by himself the lack of top end talent at wide receiver. He can no longer hide a bad defense. And let's be clear. We have tons of injuries right now. But this defense was bad before the injuries. That's the truth. This offensive line was bad before Ronnie Stanley got hurt. And Lamar Jackson is still great, but he no longer can continue to hide everything that ails this Baltimore Ravens team. And that's what he was doing. And the reason why you have those postseason fails, I'm not even talking about 2019. I'm talking about in 2023 and 2024. The reason why? Because when you face a team that's well coached and well prepared and knows who they are, one player can't beat them. One guy cannot make all the plays. He can't make all the throws. He can't make all the runs. And so when we faced off against good teams, they stayed patient, stayed the course, and came out with a victory both in the 2023-24 playoffs and last season. But now it's not enough even in the regular season. And I'm going to tell you why. Because teams recognized, let's just put a spy on Lamar Jackson. Allow him not to rush him, but to mirror him. That keeps Lamar Jackson from getting out the back door. Now, he still can, as he did yesterday a few times, but it doesn't allow him to get out of the back door like he used to. Because the spy is not to shut down Lamar, it's to just manage him. You've heard me mention that word a lot, just to manage certain things. That's all the spy's supposed to do. Let me make Lamar hesitate. And while this pass rush keeps rushing, we can get him off his spot. And now he can no longer do the things he used to do. Can he do them physically? Yes. But he can't do them with the same level of consistency. And part of the biggest problem is offensively, we never had a system. Whether it was Greg Roman or Todd Monken, the system was Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson left, Lamar Jackson right, and that's either with the run or with the scramble or the escape. That's the system. When you look at the success of last season, a lot of the big plays, a lot of the highlights, a lot of the action Jackson putting the cape on was Lamar Jackson. It wasn't great blocking. Listen to what I'm saying. It wasn't a great blocking offensive line that didn't give up a sack. It was a Lamar Jackson eluding a rush. It wasn't just because we were so high powered in the run game. It was because Lamar Jackson and the fear he caused in his ability to run opened up things for other players. That's what you see. You see the Baltimore Ravens not have a system. And so the offense is Lamar Jackson off script. And when we can't get off script, we're in trouble. And that's what we've seen. This offense was built on the big play. Week 1, big plays. Week 2, big plays. Week 3, less big plays. Yesterday, no big plays. And the big plays typically come off a Lamar Jackson scramble. But if we can keep him in the pocket and keep him inside of the rushers, somebody will eventually get there. Because the offensive line is bad. The offensive coordinator is bad because there's no real system. The defense, there is no real system. That's why, if you remember, on the Nate Wiggins, it wasn't Nate Wiggins' touchdown, but on the play that the Chiefs scored a touchdown, Nate Wiggins was asking, what's the coverage? Why? No system. No system. Not offensively, not defensively. And there's one linchpin to all of this. And that's John Harbaugh and the people he selected and put in place. Because he selects his own guys, then basically he's the OC and the DC. When all he's ever been is a special teams coach. He doesn't have an expertise. All he's been is a special teams guy. And that's not that well, especially when we're giving up probably the most yards and returns this season. This whole team is bad. They no longer trust Zach Orr. They no longer trust Todd Monken. And they definitely no longer trust John Harbaugh. But the Baltimore Ravens are too afraid to make any big changes. But when you look at this autopsy, you're going to see that there's a lot of things that have needed to change for a long time. And Lamar Jackson has been the cover-up. He's made the Ravens look better than what they were. We've never been in a Super Bowl window. If I can tell the truth, we've never been in a Super Bowl window because you don't win without any systems or leadership or identity. And we don't have any. We don't have any. That's why when John Harbaugh's answering now, it sounds buffoonish. It sounds like he's on replay. Loss after loss says the same thing. Got to figure it out. Got to coach better. He never really says we got to coach better, but we got to make the corrections. We got to get it right. We got to get ready for the next week. Well, now Lamar Jackson has a hamstring injury, and I know some people say he may be faking it. He may be, stepped out on the team yesterday. I don't know. Because the report that came out after the game in the locker room was that he was limping in the locker room. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. What you see from a Lamar Jackson is a guy who's recognizing Baltimore may not be it. And I think that's where we are. Baltimore, without major change, has the chance to become, I'm going to say this because I live down here in Carolina, so I've watched them from afar. They have a chance to become the Carolina Panthers of the AFC by way of being the Dallas Cowboys of the NFC. What do I mean by that? Somebody said that to me about 2 seasons ago when I first started doing content, that the Baltimore Ravens are the Cowboys of the AFC. And on premise, I said, yeah, you're kind of right. A lot of hype, a lot of offensive potential, talent by way of names on back of jersey, but we always underperform, especially in the playoffs, especially against the upper echelon teams. So we've been Dallas East. But we have the potential to become the Carolina Panthers. Because if we have to at some point move on from Lamar Jackson, or the better phrasing is if he has to move on from us, then losing is going to come at a regular rate. This is not the Baltimore Ravens of the late 90s and 2000s. This is the Baltimore Ravens of the 2020s. And they've won a lot of regular season games on the back of Lamar. But when his era closes in Baltimore, and I think there's a high potential for that, all we're going to have is some regular season success. See, we have a perfect example in the division. When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're consistently winning, but they ain't won nothing in a long time. We're consistently winning, but we ain't won nothing in a long time. What's the symmetry? They haven't made any major changes. The Baltimore Ravens need a complete overhaul. You guys know I'm not last on this ship. I actually built the ship. When I came in the door in 2023, I said that from the beginning. I talked about EDC. I talked about John Harbaugh and how they're married together. And so if one goes, they both have to go. I understand that we've had injuries this season. But there's one thing to have injuries. There's another thing to be uninspired. It's another thing not to have an offensive system. It's another thing not to have any fight. It's another thing not to have a counterpunch, which we don't have. Once we throw our best shot, we're done punching. And once the other team adjusts, we're done. The young kids would say cooked. And I think we are for this season. I think we'll win some more games. But I think Lamar Jackson doesn't play in week 5 or week 6. Because if his hamstring injury is legit, there's no benefit. There's no benefit to trot him out there and he still have to do all that escapability. Because the offensive line won't be any better. The wide receivers won't be able to shake open like they already aren't. And this defense is going to be some trash. And they should be with all the injuries that they have. But they were bad before. Listen, I got a whole lot more to say. But let me get back to work. I'll catch you guys in a little bit. I'm out.